could I have your attention for a minute? I'm George O'Brien, and we want to introduce our congressman. Before I introduce him, I'd just like to give some thanks to Congress to let you know that they do things in Congress besides the Clinton Gate or whatever is happening there. The funds for this trail came basically through the iced tea program, and we have our congressman to thank for that. I think we owe the Stearns County Commissioners a thanks for the job that they did in funding this. Of course, all the organizations along the trail and the cities that have contributed to this, the credit union that put in this little park for us here. I think, one, we've got to thank those people, and two, I'm going to encourage all of you to use the trail. I use it almost on a daily basis. I'd like to mention that it's very expensive though to bicycle on the trail, because my wife took the trail 3 times on her bike and decided her 30-year-old bike wasn't good enough. So we now have a 21-speed bike sitting at home, and it's not mine. So, but I encourage you to use it, and with that I'll introduce Congressman Colin Peterson and Jim Oberstar.
Thank you, and thank all of you for coming out. This is a momentous occasion. I couldn't quite keep up with Jim, but I have a $200 bike and he has a $2,000 bike. Other than that,
the bike does all the work.
That's right. But it's a wonderful trail. We had a wonderful ride down here. We had a tailwind most of the way. Makes it easier. I just put my jacket out and coasted. So, but again, to all of the people that were mentioned, you know, we thank them for their involvement. These trails are great things. It's great for the local people, but it's also great for tourism. It brings, nowadays when people are out looking for places to go, these are the kind of things they look for. It's part of the whole tourism attraction across the country, and especially here in central Minnesota. So thank you to everybody. Thanks for inviting me along, and thank Jim Oberstar for coming over to my district and participating in this. He's the real guy that you need to thank. He is the ranking Democrat on the Transportation Committee in the House. He's the one that makes sure that this money gets out here to Minnesota so we can have trails and highway projects and projects in St. Cloud to deal with all of the traffic we have down there. He's the big reason why we're able to pull this off. So Jim, appreciate you being here, and why don't you give us a few words.
Thank you, Colin, and thanks to all of you for coming out. ICE-T, Intermodal Surface Transportation Efficiency Act, represented a dramatic change in the way we think about and do transportation in America. Until 1991, it was roads and bridges. But we were coming to the end of the interstate era, and people clearly wanted something more than getting from point A to point B. After spending $128 billion on the Interstate Highway Program, we realized we needed to do more with our highway trust fund dollars and to invest them in other activities that people wanted as part of their transportation experience. And out of hearings that I held on the subject, we found that by the end of this decade, the demographics are such that half of all drivers will be 50 years of age and older. That suggested more leisure time, more leisure miles driven, and that led to the creation of the Scenic Byways program, which I wrote into ICE-T, and more recreational opportunities. That suggested using railroad grade beds, preserve a future for railroading in America, but also give people an opportunity to convert abandoned railroad grade beds to bicycle and pedestrian trails and walkways. And that was written into the ICE-T with a requirement that 10% of the enhancements program and 10% of the core surface transportation program be set aside to use for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. 6 years later, we spent $734 million on 3,442 such projects all across America. 10 million more bikes have been sold. You only got 9,999,000 to go. And bicycling has catapulted to a $3 billion a year business. The Paul Bunyan Trail, which starts in Baxter and eventually will go all the way to Bemidji, opened the first 40 miles 2 summers ago. In the first 2 months, 40,000 people used the trail. Last summer, 100,000 people used the trail. This year, 400,000 people used the trail. And as Colin said, the bed and breakfast, the first one along the trail, tripled in size. 2 new ones were added. Bait and tackle shops have extended their business well into the fall. We did a ceremonial ride on the trail 50 miles just 3 weeks ago. Every business along the trail has seen its activity double and triple in size, in volume of business, and in employment. In fact, they said, don't open more trails. We can't find the people to hire to man our businesses. It's meant more outdoor activity, more business, more opportunity to see the great scenic, historic, and cultural qualities of America. In T21, bill we passed, which Colin supported, in the House just this June, we will have $3 billion for bicycling over the next 6 years all across America. The Bikes Belong Coalition, which consists of retail bicycling facilities and bike manufacturers, have now created a Bikes Belong Coalition that has a goal of establishing 50 new centers for bicycling activity with a goal of 30,000 miles of bicycling trails to be built over the next 6 years. We've done remarkable things in America, but we're really behind other countries where bicycling is a way of life. What we want to do is, as in Chicago, where the mayor's bicycling advisory committee set a goal of 10% of all trips into the downtown business area by bike for business commuting purposes by the year 2005. They're almost halfway there. Chicago has improved its air quality index 15% in just 6 years because of what they've done with the bicycling and transit provisions. So your being here, and people of all ages can ride bikes and have fun doing it. You don't have to go 21 miles an hour, but with that wind to the back, I couldn't resist doing it. And my Colin said I couldn't keep up. But I can't keep up with him on the guitar, or the banjo, or singing, or farm policy. He's my leader on farm policy, and as I flew in today and saw that rich farmland, I know why you work so hard and why you fight so hard for good farm policy for the people that you represent so well. And what we did in T21 is respond to the needs of people like you. Behind every project, there's a face. Behind every road, behind every trail, there are people. There are needs. And what we did is respond to those needs in that transportation bill. We took the Highway Trust Fund off budget and guaranteed your tax dollars will be spent on transportation and not to cover up deficit. And we will have $200 billion of guaranteed investment in projects like this, improving roads and bridges, including the $18 million that go into Colin Peterson's district on projects that he designated and that we wrote into that bill to improve your quality of life, your transportation, and your economy. So this is a new beginning, it's a new start, a new year of transportation for America. You're here to kick it off, and thank you all for being here.
I could just, thank you very much, Jim. Recognize Michelle Fishback. Where did she go?
It's right here.
Right over here at the State Center from this area. And Steve Dealer, State Representative from St. Joe. And,
Hi.
Doug Stang from District 14B, is it? Appreciate you being out here today. And they've been big supporters in the legislature and working together with the federal government to make this trail system happen and make the transportation profit. And we have Henry Dickhouse from the county board here. Henry, appreciate you being here.
Hey, Colin, did you want us to get all up there and have a picture together?
I got no phone with me though. Unless you don't want to be seen with us.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Nice to see you. Who would be afraid to be seen with you?
I don't know. Should we divide the Republic and the Democrats apart? How are you doing?
I don't know.
Thank you guys for coming out. Stay around again.
Good to see you.
You gonna make it all the way or you need help?
And, isn't this a wonderful crowd? A beautiful day. Well, Jim, I have to tell you something. As much as you think that we're real popular, I don't think that these people are here because of us. I see all these Lake Wobegon Day books here and all that sort of stuff, so I think it may be somebody else that brought this crowd out, in addition to this trail. And, you know, I'm privileged to represent this district in Washington, and one of the things that people always ask me is whether I represent the area where Lake Wobegon is. And I always tell them that I do. They don't believe me all the time. You know how it is with politicians, they don't always believe us. Well, thanks to Garrison and his generosity in letting us use this name for this trail, people will know for sure that, that this district has a lot of famous things. Not only we have Lake Wobegon, we have the northwest angle, the northernmost part of the United States that tried to secede this last year. You have to go through Canada, Garrison, to get to this place in the United States. And we have a lot of famous things out here. We have a lot of wonderful people, as you can see here today. And this trail, Jim and I were visiting when I had enough breath so I could talk on the way up here. Just how gorgeous this was riding up here today with the leaves turning, driving through with the dairy farms and all of the different scenery. It is just wonderful. And as Jim said, this is not only going to be a great thing for you local folks being able to utilize this, I think this is going to be a huge thing for tourism for this area, and that's going to be a bigger and bigger part of our economic engine out here. You're going to see all kinds of things, I think, spring up. You're going to see the businesses along the trail do a lot better, and it's just going to be a great thing for the quality of life all up and down this area. So we very much appreciate you all being out here and inviting us to be with you. We got a lot of good exercise, got to see the countryside. I was telling Jim, the only thing that would make me any happier than this is on Saturday when I've got my shotgun and I'm in the duck blind. That'll make me a little bit happier. But this is the second best, and it's a great thing. Thank you all so very much for being out here. Thank everybody for the work they did putting this together. Thank you, Jim, for coming to my district, and have a great day.
And a T-shirt for Representative Colin Peterson. Thank you. I know you're all waiting to hear from Garrison, and we will get to him very soon, but there are some local people who really helped a lot to make this happen with local donated dollars, non-tax dollars. And before I introduce the person to introduce them, let me introduce our sheriff who will keep those trails safe. Sheriff Jim Kostreva. Jim? And Chuck Woken, the man behind the scenes, our parks director in Stearns County, Chuck Woken. And now from Lake Wobegon, Leo Sand.
Thanks, Mark. I'm the project chairman with the Albany JCs, and you know, it's hard to believe that over 4 years ago, the JCs had an idea. And all we wanted to do was build a trail between Albany and Avon. That's all we want to do is build a trail between Albany and Avon. And, you know, look, it turned out. We got a 28-mile trail. It's completely paved. There's a lot of local people that helped. There is just a tremendous support. And I thank everybody that bought raffle tickets. As you all know, we had a long uphill battle to start off. When we started this project in '94, we were looking at paving 6 miles of trail at over $300,000. And today, we got a 28-mile trail at a cost of $1.7 million. I'd like to recognize some of the people that had a lot of things to do with this. First of all, Chuck Woken, he's the one that kind of got me into this to begin with. Wasn't it? Oh, come on. Now, come up here for a second. You remember when we went before the county board in January 95, excuse me. You remember what they told us? We were looking for some local money. We were begging for money and support, of course. And I can still remember what they said. We went there and gave them our spiel and said, you know, all we want is $166,000 from you, and we think we can get some iced tea money, right? Wasn't that? You remember what they said?
Snowball's chance.
Well, it kind of went like this. How in the world are you going to raise $166,000 when the city of St. Cloud can't even raise $80,000 for their own trail system. You know what? What did we tell them? We made a bet with them, didn't we? Made a wager? We said, put it up, we'll match it. And by God, we did. The local communities in this area raised $160,000. I'd like to recognize some of them and the organizations that did a lot of work behind the scenes. Stearns County Trail Association, all of the area snowmobile clubs, Stearns Electric, Minigasco, City of Avon, Avon Chamber, Avon Lions, Avon Sportsman's Club, City of Freeport, Freeport Chamber, Freeport Lions, New Munich Snow Gliders, New Munich JCs, City of Melrose, Melrose Chamber, Melrose Lions, City of Sauk Centre, Sauk Centre Chamber, Sauk Centre JCs, Sauk Centre Lions, Sauk Centre Women of Today, Big Sauk Lake Association, St. Rose JCs, St. Joseph area organizations, Holdingford area organizations, City of Albany, Albany Chamber, Albany Lions, and the Albany JCs. And there's numerous individuals that donated money and bought raffle tickets from us. You know, it's been a while. In about February, when we decided that we're going to try and raise all this money, we really kind of lost a little steam. We had about $70,000 raised, and all these people that I just mentioned, the organizations, really pitched in and helped out. So let's give them a big round of applause. As I mentioned, we were about at 70,000 in February of '96, and then one of the JCs had a brilliant idea, and the JCs of Albany have spearheaded this project from the beginning, and we had this great idea. And where's Mark Gretsch? Where is he? There he is. Mark Gretsch had this idea, let's buy a $35,000 Suburban, two $4,000 snowmobiles, and 7 bicycles, high-performance bicycles, worth up to, what, $2,500? And you know, we'll sell 999 $100 tickets, and we'll make 50 grand. Now here's an organization that has about 25 members. Not that. Now wait a minute. We went from 360 to 1.7, and we're going to raise $50,000. You know what? From February '96 to June 1st, 1996, when we had the raffle, we sold every ticket. We had 50 tickets left the day of the raffle. We sold all of them that day, and if we had 200 more, we'd have sold all those also. It was unbelievable. I'd like to have all the JCs come up here for a second. Can we get them all on stage? I'll read you who they are. Brian Schneider, Kevin Watry, Mike Doyle, Mark Gretsch, Joel Morgan, Todd Halthaus, Brant Skansen, Mike Gretsch, Peter Desatel, Brad Folta, Steve Schiffler, Steve Gretsch, Dick Overman, Mickey Satzer, Bob Mergen, Alan Almdahl, Bob Anuska, Frank Haynes, Brian Sand, Paul Schiffler, Paul Wallenstein, Kevin Kors, Joel Gilk, Brian Schiffler, Jamie Thielen, Tom Kasner, and John Overman. Come on up here. Let's give them a big hand. These guys spent countless hours going from one end of the county to the other, selling tickets, handing out information, and just never giving up. And their wives, where are they at? Now let's give a round of applause for their spouses, their wives, please. There is one other person that I would like to personally thank. In January of '96, I wrote this gentleman a letter asking for permission to use Lake Wobegon trails. And he responded very promptly. On February 5th, we got a response and said, you certainly could use the name Lake Wobegon Trails, and today we have a world-renowned trail. And I'm proud to present Garrison Keeler. We have a little something for you. On behalf of the Albany JCs, please accept our great appreciation. You are an honorary lifetime member of the Albany JCs. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Garrison Kaler.
Thank you so much. I don't know how I'm going to carry this on my bicycle. I did not bring a knapsack. I've come to Albany by bicycle, and I do not have a bicycle lock. I hope that's not going to be a problem. Congratulations to all of these people, the JCs and members of the county board and mayors and township officials all up and down the line who've worked so hard to accomplish this beautiful trail. I've only seen about 6.5 miles of it, but I saw it on a bicycle that has no low gear and a bicycle that has a flat tire, and riding into a northwesterly wind. So I feel that I paid the price for the little bit of it that I've seen. It's an auspicious occasion to open up this new, slower link between Avon and Albany, and to include the other towns along the line, Freeport and Melrose and Sauk Centre, and St. Joseph, and I guess eventually, if they can raise the money, St. Cloud will be added onto there. We need slow means of communication as well as rapid ones. You could get from Albany to Avon by freeway, of course, if you had to, but you would get there too fast, and you wouldn't meet anybody along the way. You'd hope not to anyway. Whereas I have bicycled 6.5 miles from Avon, and I have, just in the course of that time, pedaling hard into a northwesterly wind on a flat tire. I have met a man whose great-grandfather's wife's brother was the first man to teach a course at St. John's University when it was opened in November of 1855. He has another ancestor, his great-great-grandfather, as a matter of fact, who was a deserter on the Union side in the Civil War. So he has this great honor and this great blight in his family history. These are the sorts of things that people will tell you if they sit next to you in a tavern, or they'll tell it to you on a bike trail. I think it's interesting to have a great-great-grandfather who was a deserter, and to realize that for many of us, the fact that we would not exist had it not been for a lack of principle on our ancestors' part. These bike trails are absolutely popular, and people love them once they're completed and once people get on their bikes and go ride them. But of course, in the public hearing stage, that's a very different matter. People come out and oppose them ferociously, as we all know. People are afraid of bicycle trails mainly because statistics show that there is a preponderance of college-educated liberals who ride bicycle trails. And they are afraid of bringing these people out into rural Minnesota for fear of the effect that it may have on everybody. You may get a lot of Unitarians up here in Stearns County and not know how to deal with them. These people who believe that Moses came down from the mount with the stone tablets on which God had given him the 10 suggestions. These people who send vigilantes out into Catholic communities and burn question marks on people's front lawns. But we liberals are valued members of society so long as we stay in the minority. And we liberals have ways of remaining in the minority when we threaten to become a majority, believe me. This is a great asset to you, and I hope that you all enjoy it. The people of Lake Wobegon are honored in a way to have you use their name. They do want it understood they're not responsible for any of the expenses or any of the liability. And they don't want it assumed that they are in favor of bicycle trails, but in principle they are for it so long as they are not connected to it. I was glad to give permission for the use of the name Lake Wobegon because the name really does belong to the people of this area. I chose central Minnesota as the site of Lake Wobegon because I was writing fiction and I wanted to choose a part of Minnesota that nobody ever went to. So that I could say whatever I wanted to about it. And so I think that for what you've had to put up from me over the years, you ought to be able to use the name anytime that you want to. A couple of months ago, National Geographic magazine asked me if I would write an article for them about Stearns County, and I said, of course, I'd be happy to. The National Geographic, to my knowledge, never asked anybody to write about a work of fictional geography before, and they were interested to know about the part of the country that Lake Wobegon comes from. So, in some fashion, I will have to try now to start to write the truth about you, if that's what you want. I'm not sure. Well, I wish you many, many years of pleasure on this beautiful trail. Life gets hard sometimes, even in a place as beautiful as this and on a day as beautiful as this, and a month as gorgeous as October is. Life can be confusing, can be depressing, it can be boring. People feel desperate at times. And whenever you do, there's a number of different things you can do about it, and one thing is to get on a bicycle and head off the trail. And a lot of answers will come to you in the course of just the 6 miles between here and Avon, more than you might ever guess. No matter how depressed or confused or desperate we may be at different times, the world always offers itself to our imaginations when we take the trouble to go out and to look at it and to listen to it. And I hope that you get great pleasure from seeing the world from this trail. Thank you.
A standing ovation. And we hope Garrison will ride that trail many, many more times, and we have a t-shirt for him also to wear proudly. Thank you very much. What we'd like to do now is move our dignitaries to the ribbon area for the official ribbon cutting and opening. And we want to thank all of you for being here today. And let's hear one more round of applause for all our distinguished guests.
Yes, this for afterwards.
Doctor, are you ready? We're doing the Case Road. Yeah, official doctor. Jim, I don't understand. How does this work, Jack? Oh, you get the yellow one. Oh, the inch cutter ribbon. Okay. Everybody count three now. 1, 2, 3.
What's the problem? I took a picture. Cut him.